We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. We are labor, and we stand tall, and we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us. Thank you.
Hello, Wallace and Gromit fan. Hello, everybody else. Yes, I am here. I don't know if you guys have heard. I don't know if it's really reached news. Hollywood is effectively shut down. I don't know if you guys have heard. I know it's not a whole lot of people brought it up. No, it's the Sag-AFTRA. Am I getting that right? AFTRA. Yeah, I believe it's Sag-AFTRA. I'm used to it just being SAG, but essentially, they announced they're going on strike. It's the first double strike since 1960s, I want to say, with the writers and SAG behind it. Pretty awesome. Well, I mean, it's pretty shitty that they have to go on strike, in my opinion, but it's pretty awesome that they're willing to do it. SAG, in particular, is actually one of the most powerful unions in the country, with possibly only running behind something like the police union, which... Yeah, I have serious issues with the police union. But, like, yeah, SAG standing up and saying, hey, we're going on strike, it's a pretty big deal. Let me go ahead and bring up some of the stuff going on. Because, yeah, there's actually definitely a lot to dive into. The Oppenheimer premiere Thursday night. The cast was there, and I think, if I remember this story correctly, they left... with less than an hour after being there. Essentially kind of did the red carpet, said hi, did the whole usual, and then the announcement came they were going on strike, and they walked out. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they didn't even know. Matt Damon revealed that Oppenheimer cast discussed their strike strategy before hitting the movie's red carpet premiere in London on Thursday. We talked about it. Damon told Variety on the carpet, look, if it's called now, everyone's going to walk, obviously, in solidarity. Once the strike is officially called, we're walking. Okay, so they didn't know if they'd be officially called, and once it was called, they walked. We gave the strike authorization. We voted 98% to 2% to do that because we know our leadership has our best interests at heart. It's really about working actors, he continued. It's $26,000 to qualify for health coverage, and a lot of people are on the margins, and residual payments are getting them across that threshold. This isn't an academic exercise. This is real life and death stuff. Hopefully, we get to a resolution quickly. No one wants a work stoppage, but we've got to get a fair deal. The London carpet for Christopher Nolan's atomic bomb thriller kicked off just before 5 p.m. local time, with a lot of nervous publicists and marketing executives looking anxious at their phones and watches in the event of an early strike. Sources told Variety that the entire cast planned to discreetly exit the carpet in Leicester Square. I'm sure I'm slaughtering it. But yeah, Emily Blunt said, obviously, we stand with all the actors at whatever point it's called. We're going to be going home and standing together through it because I want everyone to get a fair deal. Asked whether she'll be joining the picket line herself, the British star quipped, oh, I think so. Before being rushed down the line by her publicist. Kenneth Branagh, who plays physicist Niels Bohr in the film, also spoke to Variety about his feelings on the strike. There's a lot of people here we did not want to disappoint, but we're also in complete solidarity with our colleagues and what they're doing. I know they've worked diligently to achieve an agreement which is happening at a critical point in our industry. It's important that we're ready to be shoulder to shoulder with them as the situation develops. So essentially, yeah, a whole bunch of people are getting behind this strike, which honestly they should. Like, yeah, if they're getting fucked over, I'm certain they are. Like, the industry has changed so much. And it seems like they're probably running on pre-pandemic contracts. I'm running on a pre-pandemic contract, but that's about right to change. But yeah, things have changed a lot in the past couple of years. There's a lot of people here we did not want to disappoint, but we're also in complete solidarity with our colleagues and what they're doing. Oh, wait, that's Kenneth Branagh. I want to get to Nolan. Nolan also spoke to Variety on the carpet about the film's runtime, which is listed as 3 hours. Oh, my God. Well, I'm going to see that next week. The runtime is 2 minutes shorter than Avengers Endgame, so we cling to that. Does he say anything? I know Nolan came out with stuff about the strike later. But anyways, do we have any of the photos? Have they taken down the photos? There used to be a photo of Nolan on the red carpet, like, by himself. Did they take it down? Okay, this is kind of annoying, because I wish I had, like, saved that, because that photo, like, told spoke 1,000 words. It was, like, obviously it was set up for this huge cast behind him, and it was Nolan by himself with, like, empty background, and it's apparently gone from the article now. And there's actually a Sean Gunn interview I want to try to track down, because I found it on the Hollywood Reporter's Twitter, and it's been taken down now, and I don't know why. So I might take a moment to try to see if I can track that down, because he had some good things to say. But what is still up is Fran Drescher's speech talking about what happened. So we'll go ahead and look at that one.
Thank you, Duncan, and thank you, everybody, for coming to this press conference today. It's really important that this negotiation be covered, because the eyes of the world, and particularly the eyes of labor, are upon us. What happens here is important, because what's happening to us is happening across all fields of labor, by means of when employers make Wall Street and greed their priority, and they forget about the essential contributors that make the machine run. We have a problem, and we are experiencing that right at this moment. This is a very seminal hour for us. I went in earnest, thinking that we would be able to avert a strike. The gravity of this move is not lost on me or our negotiating committee or our board members, who have voted unanimously to proceed with a strike. It's a very serious thing that impacts thousands, if not millions, of people all across this country and around the world. Not only members of this union, but people who work in other industries that service the people that work in this industry. And so it came with great sadness that we came to this crossroads, but we had no choice. We are the victims here. We are being victimized by a very greedy entity. I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in business with are treating us. I cannot believe it, quite frankly. How far apart we are on so many things. How they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them. They stand on the wrong side of history at this very moment. We stand in solidarity, in unprecedented unity. Our union and our sister unions and the unions around the world are standing by us, as well as other labor unions. Because at some point, the jig is up. You cannot keep being dwindled and marginalized and disrespected and dishonored. The entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines and big business. Who cares more about Wall Street than you and your family? Most of Americans don't have more than $500 in an emergency. This is a very big deal, and it weighed heavy on us. But at some point, you have to say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. You people are crazy. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Privately, they all say we're the center of the wheel. Everybody else tinkers around our artistry. But actions speak louder than words. And there was nothing there. It was insulting. So we came together in strength and solidarity and unity with the largest strike authorization vote in our union's history. And we made the hard decision that we tell you as we stand before you today. This is major. It's really serious. And it's going to impact every single person that is in labor. We are fortunate enough to be in a country right now that happens to be labor friendly. And yet, we were facing opposition that was so labor unfriendly, so tone deaf to what we are saying. You cannot change the business model as much as it has changed and not expect the contract to change too. We're not going to keep doing incremental changes on a contract that no longer honors what is happening right now with this business model that was foisted upon us. What are we doing? Moving around furniture on the Titanic? It's crazy. So the jig is up, AMPTP. We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. We are labor and we stand tall and we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us. Thank you.
All right. Whitney, I'm not, that was like essentially her speech I thought was pretty based. I don't know where she's getting that the U.S. is labor friendly. Probably because SAG is honestly one of the most powerful unions in probably the world. So, yeah, it's probably usually fairly friendly to them. But, yeah, in general, it's not union friendly. All that being said, she does make a good point that essentially being one of the more powerful unions and going on strike, if there's issues, it also sends a message that other unions are going to be more willing to go on strike as well. So, yeah, I thought she did a really good job with that speech. Oh, yes, so we have the rules here. So what exactly does the Sag-AFTRA mean for the actors? Well, real quick, I'll tell you what I would know is that essentially any production, any like shooting schedule that involves a SAG actor is a no-go. So that's going to shut down 99% of all filming productions. Writing was already slowed down with the writer's strike. And with the writer's strike, it could take up to a year to really start seeing any impact from that. This, we're more likely to see an impact 3 months, 6 months down the line. Because production is obviously going to come after the writing. It's the industry's first dual shutdown in 63 years. So they aren't allowed to do principal on-camera work, obviously. No acting, no singing, no dancing, performing stunts, piloting on-camera aircraft, puppeteering, performance capture, and then off-camera, they aren't allowed to do ADR, TV trailers, voice acting, singing, narration, background work, stand-in work, photo ops, fittings, rehearsals, scannings, interviews, and then also the big thing is promotion. They're not allowed to do tours, they're not allowed to do personal appearances, interviews. Now, I want to stress, like, this is stuff that they're technically allowed to do. They just aren't allowed to do it in conjunction with any job they had that was negotiated with SAG-AFTRA. So, effectively, like, Like, Ryan Gosling can go on a talk show, but Ryan Gosling can't go on a talk show and talk about the movie Barbie now. That's the difference. They can't do conventions based on their past work. They can't do fan expos, festivals, for your consideration events, panels, premieres, screenings, award shows, junkets, podcast appearances, social media, studios, showcases. They can't do any of that based on their work negotiated with a SAG-AFTRA contract, which essentially just means, like, if they do like a podcast, it has to be how'd their day go? How are they doing? They can't talk about any projects they're working on or anything. Well, and at this point, they aren't even working on projects. So yeah, a lot of them are on the picket lines. Adam Conover, this is a little bit further in the past, but, not further in the past. It's pretty much on the same day, because there was word that the studios were talking about starving out the writers. They're like, we're going to sit this out. We're going to wait till the writers are losing their homes, and then we'll make them sign the shitty deal, is what the word leaked from the studios. And Adam Conover did a pretty base take on it.
So yesterday, some studio executives told the press that they were planning on waiting out the Writers Guild until October, when writers will lose our apartments and homes and become homeless, and then be forced to come back to the table and take a bad deal. Now, first of all, I cannot believe that they said this. They took the mask off. They told on themselves bigger than anyone I have ever seen. But also, they are dead fucking wrong, because writers are in this for the long haul. We have a strike fund that we use to support other writers who are on hard times. We are raising money for crew members and other people affected by the strike. And most importantly, we know that if we do not get a fair deal, we will not have jobs to go back to. So we are not going to leave this picket line. We are going to keep withholding our labor until the companies come back to the table and make a fair deal. And they're going to do that. You know why? Because they need us. Every dollar they make begins with us. So they are not starving us out. We are starving them out. And until they come back to the table, there will be no writing.
Okay. Let's see. I know Ron Pearlman was getting some traction for his thing. We can go over that one. This is very direct, though. Let's see.
The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial. Some of it is karma. And some of it is just figuring out who the said that. And we know who said that. And where he lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of that stirs up. Peace out.
So obviously I cannot endorse violence or anything like that, but I can definitely see where he's coming from. Let's see. Let me see if I can find Sean Gunn's video, because that was awesome. I do not like that this stuff is disappearing on this. It all might potentially. I know I am doing Cincinnati Comic Expo, and that's at the end of September. I don't know if any actors will be at that at this rate. We will see. I know, like, Jim Lee's gonna be there, so I still am hoping to get my X-Men #1 signed by him. But, like, obviously, like, if they're not actors, it shouldn't really affect it. But, like, actors, I guess, like, they effectively can go, but they can't promote anything. They can't promote anything they're going to be probably most famous for, or even talk about it. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Well, I see the article that Hollywood Reporter did on the Sean Gunn interview, but I don't see the video, because they tweet the video. Why? Where's that video go? The fuck is going on with this? Wow, this website's loading slowly. That's not it. That's not it. Yeah, sorry about this. I just assumed that tweet would stay up, and... Huh. Okay, so... This is weird. So... Okay. Someone made the Hollywood Reporter take down the clip of Sean Gunn talk about why the actors are on strike. Sean's statement about it is below. And here's a link to the original video.
hey, I just tweeted about this, but I thought I'd do this video to clear some things up. I did an interview from the picket line at Netflix yesterday for The Hollywood Reporter, and they took that interview down because apparently I didn't note that that my residuals aren't paid by Netflix, but that they're actually paid by the production company, Warner Brothers. Okay, first of all, I never used the word residuals in my interview, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that the whole point of my interview is that Netflix doesn't pay residuals to the actors. So there's no sharing in the success of a show with Netflix. It's true that they pay a licensing fee to Warner Brothers, and that Warner Brothers then pays residuals from that licensing fee, which is a very small amount, particularly for a show that's been off the air for a long time. But when the show is a huge success and they generate millions of dollars of profits for Netflix, we don't share in any of that. In large part because there's no transparency with their numbers. But really, this is about fairness for everybody, and we just want to make sure that we have a fair deal. If a show's a success, we should participate in that. That seems totally reasonable. I think anybody can relate to it. But Hollywood Reporter, if you want to reach out to me, I'm here to talk anytime. But I think that interview should go back up. Peace, everybody.
Okay, so do we have the original one? All right, extremely coward move. You complained about the game of 3-card Mountie being rigged, but unfortunately your complaint is invalid because you didn't indicate exactly where the lucky lady is hiding. Okay. So anyways, here we go. This looks like the original video. Not the best rip, but okay. I wish I'd known this would be an issue. I would have just captured it on my own and gotten a much better version.
Why was it important for you to be out here today on the picket lines?
Well, first of all, I've been a proud member of SAG for over 25 years, and so it's important for me to come out. But I also particularly wanted to come out and protest Netflix because I was on a television show called Gilmore Girls for a long time that has brought in massive profits for Netflix. It has been one of their most popular show for a very long time, over a decade. It gets streamed over and over and over again, and I see almost none of the revenue that comes into that. The CEOs of Netflix, Reed Hastings and Ted Sarandos, give each other bonuses in the tens of millions of dollars. Ted Sarandos made $40 million with the bonuses that they made with their corporate profits. I don't understand why they can't lessen those bonuses to share the wealth more with the people who have created the content that has gotten them rich. And it really is a travesty. And if the answer is, well, this is just how business is done, this is just how corporate business works, that sucks. That makes you a bad person. And you really need to rethink how you do business and share the wealth with people. Otherwise, this is all going to come crashing down. And so I'm happy to be out here, and we need a fair deal.
Would you say that for you, residuals are the most important issue on the table, or what other issues are really important to you in these negotiations?
Obviously, AI is incredibly important. I can't pretend that I understand the ins and outs of all the facets of the AI issue, but I know that being compensated for use of one's likeness is incredibly important and needs to be a part of an equitable part of this deal. I also just feel in general that sharing in streaming revenue somehow, it needs to be rethought of. As Fran Drescher said yesterday, the whole business model has fallen apart, really. And so we need to kind of restructure it from the top and do something where we equitably share profits. And if they're making less profits, that's fine. But then they can't. Then the producers can't keep taking the profits that they've been getting all along. You got to reduce your profits if you're reducing profits. So it's a whole mess, and we need a new deal and a fair deal.
Fran gave a very passionate speech yesterday at the Sag-AFTRA press conference, and there was a really positive reaction online. What was your reaction to that speech she gave?
I thought it was a really good speech. Fran is very, very fiery, and I like that. Sometimes, in the Godfather parlance, sometimes you may need a wartime general when you're facing a strike, and Fran seems up to the task. So I appreciate that.
And for all the movie and TV fans watching this at home and the ones who watch the content, what do you hope they know about this strike and the issues at hand?
Again, Duncan and Fran said this pretty well yesterday, but I hope people at home understand that this is part of labor against corporation, and it really applies to every single industry that we see right now. The people, in 1980, somebody who was the CEO of a company made 30 times the amount that their lowest employee made. That's 43 years ago. Now that number is 400 times. Why? Why is that? There is no reason for that other than greed, and other than, hey, we can squash the least of us. We can make sure that they make less, and we can get our cut and make a little bit more. And it really is a moral and an ethical issue as much as it's a financial issue. You don't need to be squeezing every last dollar out of the folks that work for you. It's unconscionable.
All right, so that was like his interview, and it was a great interview. But I think it's interesting how they.
How is it important for you to?
Oh my God, how they felt the need to take that down over something that wasn't even technically said wrong, but he said it wrong, so they're gonna take it down. Really doesn't show much backbone in the Hollywood Reporter. That's disappointing. But again, like I said in this Oppenheimer thing, there were photos on here showing Nolan by himself on the red carpet, and it's gone. Now we just have this photo, which I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this is it seems like, there's good word of mouth going out about this strike, and they're trying to try to minimize that, maybe. I don't know. This is not great. But anyways, let's see. I know Christopher Nolan did say something about the strike. Here we go. So Christopher Nolan's not on strike. He is a director. Directors Guild, I believe, got a contract they were happy with. But he has come out and said he will absolutely not work on another film until the strike ends. Nolan is directing the actors and writers and taking a step back from filmmaking as the strikes continue. During the London premiere, the cast left before the screening. We saw that. The filmmaker is now opening up about what the strike means, saying it's not about me. No, absolutely. It's very important that everyone understands it is a very key moment in the relationship between working people in Hollywood, Nolan told BBC News. This is not about me. This is not about the stars of my film. This is not about me. This is not about me. This is not about this. Deadline. Did he repeat himself? I don't know. Actors and writers are taking a stand against the studios to protect themselves against the threat of artificial intelligence and ask for better residual structure in the era of streaming. When Nolan took the stage at the London premiere of Oppenheimer, he acknowledged the actors had to leave to write their picket signs. I have to acknowledge the work of our incredible cast, led by Cillian Murphy. The list is enormous. Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Kenneth Branagh, Rami Malek, and so many more. You've seen them here earlier on the red carpet. Unfortunately, they're off to write their picket signs for what they believe is an imminent strike by SAG, joining one of my guilds, the Writers Guild, in the struggle for fair wages for working members of their union. So yeah, that's pretty based, and it won't surprise me if lots of directors are going to take a similar approach to this. More or less, is Hollywood entirely shut down? I think almost undoubtedly the answer is no. Is Hollywood 95% plus shut down? Absolutely yes. There's probably some movies in post-production where you got some editors who aren't, they aren't like billionaires or anything. Some editors still working on it. Maybe some soundtrack stuff or CGI stuff still going on. CGI still needs a union, by the way. But, yeah, there's post-production happening on some movies. I'm sure that's still happening. But, yeah, maybe you even have people like Christopher Nolan and a couple directors with enough power who are in charge of a project to stop post-production on projects. Probably not a whole lot of those, but there will be some. But there are going to be a couple movies finished. That being said, in a couple months, we will see the results of this strike, because this is that assuming the strike goes on for a while. We're only a couple days into it. If they come to agreement quickly, then we won't really see the results. But the writer's strike's been going on for a little over 2 months now. If this actor's strike takes just as long, then we will definitely see an effect. Because I know people have been wondering about this. And so the question was, I'm having a hard time morally resolving whether I should skip seeing Barbie and Oppenheimer this week with SAG-AFTRA Solidarity. Thoughts? And his response is, neither the Writers Guild or SAG-AFTRA is calling for a consumer boycott right now. If you want to support the strike, we're asking folks to boost our message on social media, donate to Entertainment Community Fund, which supports affected workers. And that makes sense, because here's the deal with these executives. They're going to start feeling the impact of this, especially with the actors involved. They're going to start feeling the impact of this fairly quickly, the executives, and that's where it's going to hurt them. If you actually go watch these movies and they do well, and the you're making money for the executives, but they're going to realize they need these people. So there's an argument to still go see media. Just they're going to start drying up on the media they have to present us. What's number 3 here? Do not do the work of striking writer profane. Oh, don't scab. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, don't scab too. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to bring up. Don't feel bad about going to see movies during this period. The executives are going to start drying up on material anyway, because they don't have anybody creating new stuff, and that's where it's going to start hurting them.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.